They looked at me like I was dirt. I walked into Leclerc Jewels, one of the most high-end jewelry stores in the city, and every eye that met mine said the same thing. You don't belong here. The receptionist didn't smile. The security guard tightened his grip. Maybe it was the way I dressed that made them think they had the right. I was wearing jeans, a faded navy hoodie, and shoes that had clearly seen better days. My hair was tied back in a lazy ponytail. No makeup, no jewelry, not even a watch. I looked like someone who might be lost. Someone who wandered in looking for directions or warmth. But I wasn't lost. I knew exactly where I was. I had planned this moment for weeks. I had read reviews about this place, about how cold they could be to people who didn't look the part. And something in me wanted to see it for myself. Not because I enjoy being looked down on, but because I've spent my entire life being underestimated. I know what it feels like to walk into a room and have no one expect anything from you. I also know what it feels like to own everything in the room without saying a word. And today, I was done being silent. "Can I help you?" the woman asked. Her voice was sharp. Her name tag said Clarice. She didn't mean it kindly. She didn't ask with warmth or curiosity. She asked the way a teacher asks a child who wandered into the staff room, "What are you doing here?" I gave her a small smile. "Just looking," I said. She gave a tight, forced grin and turned away, like she already knew I wouldn't buy anything. I walked slowly through the store, letting my fingers trail across the glass cases. Diamonds sparkled beneath the lights necklaces. That cost more than most people's rent. Rings that were meant for the kind of women who got driven around in black cars and ordered champagne like water. The shop had a quiet kind of coldness. Not in temperature, but in attitude. People glanced up from their corners to see me pass, and each look felt like a judgment, like I didn't deserve to even look. A man in a fitted suit came over. "Ma'am, these pieces are quite exclusive," he said, glancing at my hoodie like it was a stain. I met his eyes. "I can read the tags," I said calmly. "I know what they cost." He hesitated, clearly unsure how to respond. Then he gave a stiff nod and walked away. Behind me, I heard a soft snicker from Clarice, I guessed. That's when I decided to stop playing along. I turned and walked to the center of the store, right in front of the biggest display, a velvet-lined case with a necklace that shimmered like moonlight, made of rare Colombian emeralds and diamonds, tagged at over $300,000. Clarice stood nearby, arms crossed. "That piece is by appointment only," she said. "It's not available to casual shoppers." Her tone was syrupy fake. I looked her straight in the eye. "I'd like to try it on." She blinked, surprised, then gave a tight-lipped smile. "It's a highly valuable piece, ma'am." She was still trying to talk me out of it. I said nothing, just stared her down. She sighed and called over the manager, a middle-aged man with graying hair and a smooth voice. "This is Ms." she started. "You don't need to know my name," I said gently. "Just let me try it on." The manager looked puzzled but nodded. A few moments later, the necklace was placed on a velvet tray. Clarice picked it up with gloved hands and fastened it around my neck. The room felt oddly quiet. I turned to the mirror. The necklace looked beautiful, but what made it shine wasn't the stones, it was the fact that I wore it without needing to prove anything. Still, I could feel Clarice's breath behind me, ready to pounce with a polite excuse to take it off. I turned to her. "How much is it again?" I asked. $315,000, she said. "Before tax." I nodded, reached into my backpack, and pulled out a sleek black leather folder. I opened it and placed 3 certified cashier's checks on the counter. Each check had 6 figures. Clarice froze. Her lips parted, then closed. The manager stepped forward, his face turning from skeptical to panicked. "I'll take this necklace," I said. "And the matching earrings. Also those 2 bracelets by the wall, the diamond-studded ones. And the ring in the sapphire collection." The manager quickly waved another associate over. Of course," he said. "Would you like a beverage while we finalize everything?" I smiled. "No, thank you. I'll wait." Clarice was pale. I saw her hands trembling slightly as she gathered the paperwork. I didn't rush. I wanted her to feel every second of it. The associate returned with a tray, placing the rest of the items I requested on the counter, treating me suddenly like royalty. Funny how fast people change when they see dollar signs. As they wrapped the jewelry in layers of velvet and gold-rimmed boxes, the manager came over and said, "We're honored to have you here today, Ms." I looked at him and said quietly, "You weren't honored 5 minutes ago." He flushed. "I apologize if we—" "You didn't treat me badly," I said. "You treated me honestly. You treated me the way you treat people who don't look rich enough for you." Clarice stared at the floor. "Here's the thing," I continued. "I didn't come here to humiliate anyone. I came because I wanted to see how you treat someone who didn't fit your image. And you failed." The manager nodded slowly. "I understand. It won't happen again." I picked up the bag of boxes, then paused. I reached into my folder and pulled out a second envelope. Inside was $10,000 cash. I handed it to the youngest associate, the only person who hadn't sneered at me, who had offered me water without hesitation. "This is for you," I said softly, "for treating me like a human being." He stammered, shocked. "Ma'am, I thank you. I don't know what to say." "Just remember it," I said. I turned and walked out. The door shut behind me with a soft click, but the echo of what happened would stay with them for a long time. I stepped into the sunshine and pulled off my hoodie. Underneath, I wore a silk blouse worth more than most of their monthly rent. I had driven there in a beat-up car, not because I didn't own a better one, but because I wanted them to judge me. I wanted them to show me who they really were. And they did. What they didn't know was that I was the co-owner of one of the city's largest real estate investment firms. My name wasn't known to the public, I preferred it that way, but my money, my power, and my influence stretched further than their store ever could. I wasn't poor. I just knew what it meant to be treated like I was. And today, I reminded them that wealth isn't always loud. Sometimes, it walks in quietly and leaves with everything